sucker. Didn't have to be this way. Could have lived in the truck peacefully. But instead, he chose to be destructive. Therefore, he got death. He could have cleaned the floors up, picked up the little breadcrumbs. But instead, he got destructive. So, he's gonna probably be ate by a bird. Crazy part is, I don't even think he was after the fruit snack. I think he was just out to tear something up. That's fine. He ain't tearing nothing else up. Maybe a bird's stomach. We'll find our way out of here. This is a low truck / trailers nightmare of a parking lot. I don't think the holes are very deep, but I can tell you from experience, just the holes that you wouldn't think are very deep, that'll get you. Got a lot on my mind this morning. Yesterday morning, I got an email from the National Office of the Boy Scouts of America, stating that they were changing the Scouting name to Scouting America. 100% understandable. People have been complaining since 2000, I can't remember if it was 18 or 19, when they started allowing girls troops to form. People have been complaining, well, they need to change the name from Boy Scouts of America to something else. Well, they're doing it. Now people are all upset. One of the biggest things I see in the comments, people gotta throw insults out, they're nothing but a bunch of pedophiles. Well, right now, Scouts BSA is leading the charge on youth protection training for adults and youth. They are setting the bar. Many youth programs are using the guidelines that Scouts BSA has put out for their own youth protection training. They say 80,000 men come forward in a lawsuit, against sexual abuse while they're in their time as Scouts. I'm not gonna say it didn't happen, but if you don't live under a rock and you look, anytime there's a massive lawsuit against an organization and lawyers are involved and it's advertised on TV, people are going to come out of the woodwork, say I was there, no questions asked, they get a check, and that's America. Lawyers and money. I guess they lawyers, guns, and money, because they're trying to take their guns away anyway. But the biggest thing that struck me was a comment saying that Scouts have gotten away from their Christian values. The thing that hit me with that comment, really got me thinking was, it seems like anytime something goes against the Bible, Christians run and hide it go hide in the pews at the church. But it's gotten to a point where it seems like the only time you see Christians being Christians is in the church. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John could have all four been books where Jesus stayed in the temple and preached to the high priest. But that's not how it went. He went to the temple, but he didn't stay there preaching to the high priest. His ministry was out in the world. The people that walked with him, the 12 disciples, were from the world. They were not high priests. They were worldly men. They had their struggles. What I'm trying to get at is, all these people want to complain about what an organization is doing, making their rules and all that. And the second they change their rules they're out the door because of their beliefs. Instead of sticking to their roots and maintaining a firm stance, being a light to these boys and girls, they're running high. So who's going to fill those shoes when the Christian isn't standing in them? Well, you're going to get more worldly people filling those shoes. Do I think, the doors should be slammed in people's faces because of their religions or their beliefs or their sexualities? Not at all. Matter of fact, I think you should hold them open for them. Why? Because I think that's what Jesus would have done. Simply because they can't get to know them if you don't allow them in. If you don't want things changing towards the negative, then you need to be the positive in that situation. Otherwise, the negative is just going to take completely over. As far as girls being allowed in, Boy Scouts, or Scouts BSA as it's known right now, or Scouting America, as it's soon going to be known as, I'm fine with it now. And I say it that way because, CJ was in Cub Scouts whenever they started allowing girls in the Cub Scouts. I was very skeptical of it then, but what I didn't think about back then was a lot of times little sisters at the scout meetings, because parents had to be there, at least one parent had to be there. In today's society, men are working, women are working, so usually if a parent's home, they take all the kids with them. So little sister was already at the meeting anyway, so when they started allowing the girls, now little sister got to get involved and actually got to do, be involved and get awarded for it. They get to the era of life or age out of Cub Scouts. Now they're at a point where, their only option is to go to Girl Scouts USA or, get into exploring or adventuring with the Scouts BSA, which has been around since the 60s, co-ed programs. So now they're left with a decision. My niece was actually side by side doing Girl Scouts and Scouts BSA. When given the option to choose between one or the other, she went Scouts BSA because she liked the programming better. I don't care if you are in the United Steelworkers, a welder, cleaning porta potties, working in an office, doctors, whatever. Men and women are working together. It's not rare to find women in, trades that men are supposed to be doing nowadays. So I think it is wonderful to have girls and boys in an organization that is designed to teach leadership and teamwork. Yes, I said it that way. It takes leadership to work with teamwork. I think it's a great idea. I honestly don't think people realize that scouting has more to offer than just learning how to build campfires, setting up a tent, tying knots. I'm going to tell you, there is pretty much a merit badge for everything. There's a truck transportation merit badge, there's welding, there's automotive, there's agricultural, good grief, computer science. I mean, you name it, there's probably a merit badge for it. And I say that because there are, there's a merit badge on electrician, electrical work and plumbing, and I mean, things that basic knowledge that you can use in life. And I say that because, with the girls being involved now, they're learning those trades. They're learning something that, let's be honest, women are now having to hold down the homestead while the men are out working, and vice versa. I think it's important that not only these girls be learning these things, but at the same time, granted, right now boys have their troops and girls have their troops. They're separated as it is. But at the same time, for instance, my boys' troop works with my wife's girls' troop. They work together on a lot of things. I think it's important for them to do that because, not only are they learning important life skills, but they're learning how to work with each other and making it a normal thing for the girls to be working with the boys on these things. Oh, we're going to go weld some metal. That's not a girl's thing. You need to go wash the dishes. Well, guess what? I know a lot of girl welders. They do it professionally. Common thing I also hear about is, what about camps? That's how baby Cub Scouts are made. I don't hear that being said about church camps that are co-ed, which I really don't know of any. I haven't ever heard of any single-sex church camps. I've heard of age group church camps, but I haven't heard of single-sex or, co-ed 4-H camps or, I don't know, there's several other camps that, depending on where you're from, they're co-ed. Not just boy only or girl only, they're co-ed. Yeah, they might be sleeping in separate dorms or cabins. I get it. But they're not 100% foolproof. I'm sorry, but there are procedures put in place at scout camps that are supposed to stop it. I think one of the biggest issues when it all comes down to it is so many people are scared to do their own research. They're scared to step up to the plate. They're quick to form an opinion off of a news article or something they see on Facebook, but they won't go out and research what they're upset about before they start talking. Research has never been easier. This thing right here, the cellular device that most people carry in their pocket. You can look up the weather in Beijing anytime you want. You can look up information on anything and everything pretty well. Don't be afraid to do a little research. Talk to somebody that's involved. Some people are just so close-minded, you can give them straight up facts but they're not going to believe what you say, or they're not going to accept it because internet told them otherwise, or how it is just how it's got to be. I'm sorry, but the world changes every day. If you leave something the same, good grief. The Boy Scouts of America was the first interracial organization in America. And they got criticized for it. Today's world ain't the same as it was when I was a kid. The world I had as a kid ain't the same as, the world that my parents had as a kid. Things have changed. Organizations have to change to stay alive. We are empty. We are fixing to head down to Brian's, pick up some rock, and head towards the house because we got an appointment to figure out what's going on with my lip here. I'm just some leftover pizza from last night. I just want to say, yes, I'm an assistant scoutmaster, yes, I strongly support the scouting program. And you know, a lot of the people that have something negative to say either aren't involved, have never been involved, or haven't been involved since they were a kid. A lot has changed over, I mean, just in what I figure about 8 years or so that I've been involved with it. A lot has changed. I don't agree with everything, and I'll be 100% honest with you. And there's some things that I didn't agree with at first that I agree, you know, I appreciate a lot more now. You know, a lot of people throw out, the boys need a place to be boys. Nobody's stopping them from being boys. No, they can't run around talking about their genitalia, scratching, that type of stuff, peeing out in the middle of nowhere. They're not supposed to be doing that anyway. So I don't understand that concept. Like I said before, more and more trades or I should put it, more and more women are getting into trades that are generally men trades. So, you know, I don't know. A lot, I could say a lot, and I really don't know how to say it, but you know, there's a lot of people that have something to say that don't want to get involved. And when you tell them, well, if you don't like what's going on, then get involved. Be the change. Then they come up with their excuse in the book as to why they can't or won't. Well, you're the reason for the bad. If you're not willing to step in, you know, it's just like voting. Well, I didn't vote. But you got something to say. Well, how can you have something to say if you didn't vote? We're done for the day. We had to call it quits in Iola. Really didn't have a reason to keep going. I'm not in a big hurry. I'm gonna be home tomorrow either way. We got the rest of our pizza and breadsticks warmed up. Getting ready to eat. You know, I don't want people to think that I'm trying to be holier than thou, more or less, as much as, you know, I'm trying to bring light to people that, some people seem to think that the best solution to, I guess what I'm trying to say is, some people stick with, when it comes to Christianity, they want to stick with the Old Testament beliefs. I'm going to tell you, I have short attention span, in case you guys couldn't tell. But what I understand from the Old Testament is it's all a prophecy of Jesus coming. But there's a lot of laws and stuff that were put into place in the Old Testament that were meant for the Jews to separate themselves from Samaritans or worldly people, if you want to put it that way. So there was a lot of laws. Ultimately, as a Christian, you fall under the New Testament, New Covenant, if that's how you want to put it. The difference is, in the Old Testament, there's a lot of separation of godly people and the world. But what Jesus told his disciples was to follow me. Jesus went straight into the world. I know as a youth he hung out in the temple with the priests and all that, but when he started his ministry, he went into the world. He took worldly people with him. His disciples were worldly people. They weren't priests. And they went into the world. And Jesus said to go out and make disciples. He didn't say go to the church. He didn't say go, stay with each other and disciple each other. He said go out into the world and make disciples. So, I don't know. Just my take on things. All right, we're up. I'm gonna actually pull over to the fuel island, clean my windshield real quick, and get ready to head home. But we gotta deliver our rocks, then we'll head home. So, this is what we'll get doing. Now, I should have got a little bit earlier start than what I did, but we had some pretty bad storms roll through home last night. So I was kind of staying up, trying to keep updates and all that. Stayed up a little later than I really wanted to, but we didn't get any damage at my house from what my wife was saying. We're out of power and internet and all that, but didn't get any damage. They did town, closer to town, took some pretty hard hits around us, Annapolis and over towards Arcadia. Fredericktown got hit pretty hard again. Knock on wood, our only issue at home is a lack of power. We can survive without that for a short bit. I do have a couple little generators. Don't really power the whole house, but it can power, refrigerators, and freezer, and all that fun stuff. So, holy crap! Holy crap! There's a gray Tahoe just up the road. Whew. Climbing a hill, and the guy, he was in the left lane all the way over on the yellow rumble strips. That sucker, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, there's a black Chevy truck and a gray Tahoe. But he coming around the corner, kind of a slight left-hand curve coming uphill. We all know I'm heavy, and he flew in behind me. I thought maybe he was just pulling over to the shoulder, maybe I had to put a tire or something. No, that sucker went all the way off into the grass. Had it up on 3 wheels at one point. I thought he was going over. And if I wasn't been watching that sucker, he would have creamed the back of my trailer. I kid you not. That ain't the truck shaking, that's my hand shaking. Oh, this is where I usually take my bathroom break at. I might need to clean my drawers a little bit after that little incident, but we check our securement and all that here before we get up to Highway 8, but be surprised if that old boy ain't in here cleaning his drawers too. There you go. That's probably one of the closest incidents I've been in, or probably one of the closest instances that I almost got into a serious accident, or got involved with a serious accident. Man. Take a quick breather here. I'm gonna tell you, luckily I was paying attention and just, been watching my mirrors pretty heavily. I watch, typically when we got one double stack like I do, I like to keep an eye on my mirrors. Just, not that I'm really paranoid about anything happening, but, I'm watching for chains to wiggle and things like that. Luckily for that old boy, I was watching my mirror and watched him go across like that. And then, I mean, he was, when I say he was off the embankment, his Tahoe was probably like that as he's coming around. He had the left front hiked up like he was coming around to win Eldora or something. I thought for sure he was going to cream that back corner of my trailer though. I don't know. I almost thought he had a, blew a right front tire. Well, it just cruising along, and all of, kind of going around the curve there, and just all at once went right towards the back of my trailer and off in the ditch and back up on the road towards my trailer, and he didn't even miss a beat. Got control on it, jumped back in the left lane, right on by, like nothing ever happened. Crazy stuff, I'm telling you. All right, let's go again. I think I finally quit shaking. Adrenaline finally mellowed out. Man. Hopefully we don't find that guy up here in Rolla laid over in a ditch somewhere, because I don't think he'd make it out of them. Well, I think it's too early for Kate to be at work. It's possible, I guess, to come in early. I think Kyle's at work. Should be. I don't know. We'll find out here in a second. He might send me an old message. Or I might get a message from one of the other guys. Knock it up, you jerkwad. You jackwagon. I forgot to guess the weight. I'm gonna go with, this one seemed like a pretty light load. I'm gonna go with 78,880. 78,800. That's what we're going for. What do we say? 78,800. We'll go with it. We'll stick with it. 78,800. What's your guess? School calling. Ooh. 78,860. Well, we have made it back. Gotta drop Mac. The old man's gonna have to go load my load for me tomorrow. I got a doctor's appointment. Get my lip looked at. I don't know what's going on with it, but so we're gonna drop our trailer. Might change out a headlight. The headlight malfunctioning. Might do that Sunday. I don't know. But, hey, happy Mother's Day to the mothers out there, because I'm sure I'll forget on Monday. So hope y'all have a good weekend. Y'all stay safe out there. I really don't have nothing witty today. God bless you. Stay safe.